Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365, and today I'm going to go over everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for the months of April and May 2020. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365, as well as over at the Disney Magic Hour podcast. I put a link for that in the description. All right, another month has come to an end, so here's everything that I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for May 2020. I'm also going to throw in April as well. I didn't do a video last month, so I thought I would just throw those titles in. It wasn't a whole lot going on in that particular month, but we're going to go ahead and combine the 2 months. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. We'll start off with Blu-ray. The first one I picked up was going to be The Lodge. Decent movie overall. It has its moments. It's got some good atmosphere to it, but it's just kind of, you know, a lower tier kind of suspense movie. But it still has some good atmosphere, and there's some good characterization. It wasn't thrilled about the ending, but it's still decent looking Blu-ray overall, so definitely check that one out if you have a chance. The next one I picked up is going to be Greta Gerwig's Little Women on Blu-ray edition. No 4K for that one, unfortunately, but it's still, like, I really enjoyed that one. I actually, as far as the old, version, I believe from 1994 with Winona Ryder, this one I think handles the story a lot better. It kind of keeps you a little bit more engaged. Great costuming, great background, story, characters. I dug it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was a shame we didn't get a physical 4K release for that one, but it is available digitally for those interested. And yeah, it's absolutely worth checking out. So Little Women is on that. Also, Gretel and Hansel. Speaking about atmosphere, that one was okay. It was all right. This one was a blind buy, and I think it's got good visuals, but ultimately the story just kind of didn't work for me. But it's still an okay flick to at least watch once, and I thought the acting was good. I thought Alice Krige was great as the witch in the tale. But it's still like an okay movie. I'm not sure I would flat out buy that one again, but it's definitely worth a rental at the very least. So definitely check that one out in some form, whether you rent it or what. But yeah, Gretel and Hansel, good atmosphere, story's okay. Also one that I really enjoyed that I saw theatrically, it's technically kind of alien underwater, but it still moves at a brisk pace, and that is Underwater. Well, Underwater. Once again, this one, a shame we didn't get a 4K release for it physically, but it definitely looks great. It's a good looking Blu-ray, absolutely great sound to it, and it is a cool movie. It is really neat. It is honestly a cool Kristen Stewart movie. How often can I say that? But yeah, definitely check out Underwater if you get a chance. And the last Blu-ray I picked up, and this one's just a catalog I saw for cheap, and I've been wanting to add it to my collection. And we also did an episode of this one on the Disney Magic Hour podcast, and that is Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy. It holds up in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways it doesn't as far as the times go. But it's still a cool looking visual take on the title character, and it's been a number of years since I saw this one, but it was cool to revisit it, and it is absolutely one of those just it won't show up on Disney Plus, let's put it that way. There's a certain Madonna scenes that make it a little more risque, but yeah, it's one of those Disney films in the past that it worked during that time, but today it doesn't hold up quite as much, but it's still cool to look at. It's absolutely worth owning in my collection. So that's it for the Blu-rays. Now let's talk about the 4Ks. One of the last Blu-rays I forgot to mention that I picked up this past month was the Criterion edition of The Great Escape. It really is a wonderful presentation. Criterion did a great job here. It did a separate video, of course, for this one, so check that one out if you're interested in my thoughts on it. But yeah, didn't want to forget the Criterion of The Great Escape. Okay, as far as 4Ks go, let's jump right in. So here we go, and the first one is going to be The Invisible Man, the Blumhouse produced version, and I really dug it. The 4K looks phenomenal, looks great. It's a lot of atmosphere to it. The HDR Dolby Vision look wonderful. They look great, and it's a good Atmos mix. It is absolutely worth checking out, and I would highly recommend you pick that up in 4K. It really is a cool movie overall, and I think you should definitely check that one out. Also picked up this month is Ip Man 4, the finale. Donnie Yen closing out the title character, and it's really a cool flick. It's a great modern martial arts film. You know, it mix West and East, you know, as far as filmmaking goes, and it looks wonderful on the 4K format. And I also really dig the slipcover on that one. It just looks fantastic. So yeah, absolutely check that one out. This was one of the big releases for the month, and that is Tom Cruise and Top Gun. It looks fantastic. It has been given the Atmos treatment. The overhead speakers alone will make it worth the price of admission, but overall, it looks wonderful. It is absolute great upgrade over the standard Blu Ray in my opinion, and it's a classic Tom Cruise flick. You definitely check that one out if you get a chance, and it is absolutely worth, you know, picking up. Also picked, now this technically came out in March, but due to supply issues due to COVID-19, this one literally just arrived in April, so I'm counting it as April, but that is Superman Red Son, and this one was just, I think it was a good DC animated film. I enjoy the source material story quite a bit, the Elseworlds tale. It's cool, and I think it's got a cool cover, it looks great, and it is another feather in the cap of DC animation that they have good stories, and I think this one is absolutely worth checking out. It's not essential to pick this one up on 4K. I feel that the DC animated style kind of lends a little bit less to the HDR, but it still shows if you have the money and you definitely want to check this one out, and you just, yeah, get the 4K. It is worth checking out for that alone. Also picked up this one during the month of April, and that is VFW, a throwback 80s style kind of horror action movie. This one was okay. This one was a blind buy. I thought it was a good premise. It has its moments, but it's not anything that's really going to be overly memorable. But it's still a cool flick, and it's good to see smaller companies putting stuff out on 4K, even though this one does not provide any HDR. But VFW, it's got a great cast: Stephen Lang, William Sadler. It's got a good core cast. So for the cast alone, definitely check that one out. Another Tom Cruise flick coming out, also directed by Steven Spielberg, is War of the Worlds. I think this one looks fantastic, and it sounds great. I know a lot of people were a little perturbed that the bass got dialed down a bit, but you know, as far as that goes, I think it was okay. I think it's a good Atmos track. It looks fantastic, and it's a good Spielberg movie. It's really just one of those that you go back to every few years, and the 4K on this one is great. The Dolby Vision is wonderfully utilized, and it's an overall very pleasant experience on 4K, so definitely check that one out. And this one is the last Tom Cruise movie coming out for this month. Is Days of Thunder. This one unfortunately was not given an Atmos mix, but the existing 5.1 is serviceable. It's good, but a little upgrade in that department would have been great. But the Dolby Vision looks fine. Film grain is nice and appropriate, and it's aged pretty well as far as the movie goes. It definitely has that 90s sense to it, but early 90s sense. But it's still a cool flick, and it's if you're a Tom Cruise fan, racing fan, you definitely want to pick up Days of Thunder. Also picked up in April, that is going to be the Steelbook edition of Bad Boys for Life, as you can see there, Steelbook. And it's, you know, I like this one a lot. As far as the movie goes, I really enjoyed the direction they went in. I'd put this one as my second favorite of the Bad Boys, of course the first one being the first. But yeah, this one is absolutely worth checking out. It looks gorgeous. Sony did a wonderful job as far as the picture quality goes. The audio mix is DTS:X, and it sounds good. It sounds great. I think Atmos probably would have been a little bit better. That's my preferred audio experience. But DTS:X is still very good here, and it's wonderfully utilized. It looks great. It is absolutely awesome, and is worth checking out. Definitely check out Bad Boys for Life. This one also, Birds of Prey, the Harley Quinn spin-off, you know, long title, insert long title here. It is visually a good-looking movie. It is really just, the HDR looked fantastic here. The Atmos sounds good, and it's overall, the movie itself is okay. I think I would have taken I've liked the more Harley Quinn elements here, the Birds of Prey stuff, not as much, but it's still an okay flick. You gotta wonder if there was some stuff left on the cutting room floor to kind of maybe flesh out the movie a little bit more. But I think, you know, if you're a fan of Birds of Prey, absolutely check that one out. Also this month, I picked up the Guy Ritchie film, The Gentleman, and this was another one that took a while to get here. Just the Amazon release dates were just kind of, you know, up in the air at this point, but it is a cool flick. Absolutely worth checking out, The Gentleman. I think the 4K is great. It has a good style to it. It's like a very mature Guy Ritchie. You know, if you go from movies like Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, Snatch, and then several years later you pick up The Gentleman, it shows his maturity as a filmmaker. Also, another Sony release. They released The Mask of Zorro in 4K. This one looks great. It absolutely is wonderfully utilized HDR. And it is just a cool flick, you know, good swords and swashbuckling type of movie. It's really, it holds up. It holds up very well, and it looks great. It is absolutely just worth picking this one up in 4K. This one was also released in April, and it did not come with a slipcover edition, but apparently there's a steelbook that is still to be released at some point, and that is going to be Vin Diesel and Bloodshot. I like this one. It was not anything that is going to redefine the comic book genre, but it's really cool flick with Vin Diesel starring in it, and it's just a good action movie. I think it kind of reminds me of a little bit of like a 90s action style movie. It really just, it has that kind of feel to it, but with modern technology. Just check this one out. It's really cool. Also coming out this past month, Call of the Wild. As you can see, no slipcover on this one. Now, apparently, I've heard reports that slipcovers do exist at some, you know, for some retailers. I think Disney Movie Club may be starting to send them out with slipcovers, and these might be getting reissued. I don't know. It's maybe with COVID-19, the whole slipcover thing is just kind of falling behind a little bit. But yeah, worth checking out. It is beautifully rendered 4K. The HDR looks phenomenal here, and it's probably one of the best looking films on the 4K format for 2020. And it's a cool flick. I know the dogs are CGI and everything, but if you can get past that, it's worth checking out, and it's something you should at least see once. And I think Harrison Ford's great in it. So it has a few hard moments if you're an animal lover, but you know, that aside, it's still definitely a movie worth checking out on 4K. Also coming out this past month was Sonic the Hedgehog. This one was okay. I was actually expecting a lot less, and I got pleasantly surprised. It was enjoyable. Jim Carrey was great as Dr. Robotnik, and I'll say the 4K is not particularly the strongest I've seen. The Dolby Vision is a little bit underwhelming. It's a cool movie. If you're a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog video games, it's worth checking that out for that alone. But yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, hey, it's a cool flick. And finally this month, also no slipcover edition, Onward. Yeah, this one I liked. I did like it. I don't feel it was one of Pixar's best. I feel like this one was kind of like a pick your lane kind of as far as creative goes. You know, I think they should have committed a little bit more to the fantasy elements and less on trying to make it, you know, too relatable as far as, us as humans go. But I still dug it. It's still great as far as the film goes. It looks beautiful. The HDR is fantastic here, and the Atmos is pretty good. But Onward is one of Pixar's recent releases that does not have a slipcover, unfortunately. But, you know, that's the times we're living in, and hopefully we'll get back to normal soon, and then we can get more availability at our local retailers. So that is everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for the months of April and May. Let me know in the comments below what you picked up, and let's talk about it. So In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification. I put out videos every single day. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.